Hello, my name is Jessica, and I'm in my last year of grad school in the Interactive Media program. What I expect to get out of this analytics course is to be able to read numbers more accurately and actually place them into context. Numbers were never my strong suit, but if I can learn to read data and analytics in a business context, I think it would only further my understanding of the business world. In terms of what I measure in my everyday life, the quantitative data would come from my bar tab on the weekends, no judgment, and the qualitative data would come from the goals that I aspire to reach once I graduate in May. So for my quantitative data, I'm influenced by a bar tab almost every weekend. Since I recently moved home, I'm supposed to be saving money for when I move out. That being said, I have a certain amount of money that I allow myself to spend each weekend. And if I go over that amount, it inhibits me from saving any money. Um, it inhibits me from saving money that week, um, which is why it's very important that I budget. This tactic is something that I learned from past mistakes that I've made. There have been times where I've spent too much money on the weekends and I couldn't put any money in the bank to save. But there's also been weekends that I spent very little money and I was able to save a lot. This back and forth has brought me to the current pattern that I've created for myself. And I developed this system for myself because of my qualitative goals, one of them being to move out one day. If I don't save, I won't be financially stable enough to support myself. That being said, my other qualitative goal is to get a great job after graduation, along with what I previously mentioned about wanting to move out one day. I measure this data every single day when I finish an assignment, take a test, and pass another course and move on to another course. I've been in college for almost 6 years now, and each day has been a progression towards each goal, perpetuating changes in the goals that I have now and continue to build upon. Because of that, I'm continuously comparing the goals that I used to have to the goals that I have now. For example, freshman year, my overall goal was to pass my classes. Sophomore year, my goal was to find what I love doing. This past year, my goals have changed to getting a great job after grad school and eventually moving out of my parents' home. Of course, I do compare and contrast what my goals are and what my friends' goals are, but they're relatively similar these days since we're all in the same position of graduating undergrad and continuing on in grad school. It's very important for me to measure and compare the results of my goals over the past few years because it allows me to strive for more and for better. Once I complete a goal, I can look back, smile, and move forward with new and more challenging goals. So my favorite quote in Margaret Wheatley's article, What Do We Measure and Why?, is as follows. But measurement is critical. It can provide something that is essential to sustenance and growth. Feedback. All life thrives on feedback and dies without it. We have to know what is going on around us, how our actions impact others, how the environment is changing, how we're changing. If we don't have access to this kind of information, we can't adapt or grow. Without feedback, we shrivel into routines and develop hard shells that keep newness out. We don't survive for long. So without knowing it, I've been using this method of feedback all my life. I gave myself feedback each time I learned how to budget on the weekends, each time I spent too much or too little. I gave myself feedback each time I failed at reaching a goal, as well as when I wanted to turn that outcome around and conquer that goal. I continue to give myself feedback when I like what I'm doing, dislike what I'm doing, or want to change something. Without knowing it then, but knowing it now, feedback is what I will continue to base both my qualitative and quantitative goals on.